Welcome to another edition of the Vision with Execution show. I'm Adam Torkelson. My guest today is Dr. Foojan Zeine. She is a therapist and an amazing inventor of a system for assessing, um, I'm just going to say, limiting beliefs about ourselves. And I invited her on my show because I like getting to know my own weaknesses better so that I can turn them into strengths. And hopefully, this episode can help anyone who listens kind of do the same thing. But having said that, Dr. Fujan, I'm just going to call you Fujan if that is okay. Good.
Excellent.
I would love it if you would introduce yourself really
Of
quickly.
course. Thank you so much for having me. I've been a psychotherapist, a coach, business coach, and life coach for about 32 years. And I've been trained in many of the models out there. And I kind of took the best of what I experienced and it worked together well. And it created a beautiful, efficient way of going really deep, really quick, and creating a lot of amazing efficiency. Put them kind of together in an open structure. And so it developed awareness integration theory, which brings a lot of the cognitive theories, emotional, behavioral, trauma informed together. And we're kind of like become aware of today and how we operate today and clean up the past, kind of envision the future, but then with all of the past and the future kind of getting clear, coming back to the present moment and acting, behaving, inventing, intending, and creating what it is that we want to have a fulfilled life.
So awareness integration theory, that is your construct, your brainchild, and AIT for short, I guess. The part of that that really stands out to me, and by the way, I am somebody who I would say I've had a fair amount of therapy practice from the perspective of a client, patient. So I've gone through addiction recovery, and that's a form of therapy. I've also done talk therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy. Uh, there's a couple of others. Hypnotherapy, I've done that before. My wife happens to be an emotional release therapist, and so I've been exposed to all those sort of things. Never studied them in any way, shape, or form. I've had coaches walk me through a lot of that stuff. So I was really interested to hear about your process because of one word that you mentioned, which was quick. A lot of the therapies that I've experienced and been around, none of them use that word. And it's intentional. Therapy is a hard process for anyone who wants to go through it because changing ourselves is difficult, even with the help of somebody who's trained in it. The person who's getting the help who wants to change, there are limiting beliefs and or outside environmental situations that make change really difficult for most people. And I would say I skew more towards I like to change and keep doing things that work for me. If I can find a fast, quick way to become a better version of myself, I'm all for it. So that's really what kind of intrigued me about the way that you introduced yourself to me when we first got introduced, and when you just introduced yourself just now. So I do want to put you on the spot because I I uh, I've asked one or two people in the past to do a live session with me on my podcast, and I felt like those went really well for me. I don't know how anybody else felt about them as far as the listeners or the coaches who helped walk me through it. So if you feel like this could be an opportunity for you to walk me through a quick AIT session in less than 20 minutes, I do have to put that time limit on there, then that is exactly what I'd like to do for the next 20 minutes. Do you feel like that's a good use of our time?
Absolutely, I can definitely go for it. Although I need to give you the disclaimer that working on one area, it does take minimum, 50 minutes to 60 minutes. So for 20 minutes, what I can do is to begin the process with you. Absolutely. At least we could go for, further in some angle of it and looking at it. I love to.
Okay, let's do it.
All
I'm
right.
all yours.
All right, so pick an area of life that is important for you, whether it's your career or relationship, addiction, whatever it is, because I know you said you went into addiction recovery. Whatever it is today that it is an area of your life that is important to you or an issue.
An issue I run into regularly is a feeling of low value when I'm not constantly doing something to prove my value. It's really hard for me to relax and just enjoy my life without feeling guilty that I'm not doing something productive.
So the area of life that we're going to choose is your relationship with yourself, pretty
Yep,
much.
right. Good
Okay.
call. Yep.
So if you would share with me your positive thoughts that you have about yourself, what would they be?
Some positive thoughts are I believe I'm incredibly gifted at being efficient with my time. That is one of my superpowers. And I tell people that all the time. And it can piss off a lot of people because I do so many things to be efficient at the expense of a lot of other things in my life. So I prioritize efficiency above so many other things, relationships, health, mental wellness, all those things. So it's a double edged sword.
So, what does efficiency really mean to you that has such a high value for you?
For me, it means when there's a task to be done, I can get it done as quickly as possible. And the accuracy of it isn't as high a priority. It's just if I have a thing to get done, I get it done faster than anybody else could do it.
And that has become a value for you
Yep.
because because you, however, got gained, let's say, credibility and attention and value, let's say, admiration, because you were doing things quicker. Then you saw that as a value and you're holding that as a value itself.
Yep.
Got it. And what are some of the negative thoughts you have about yourself?
Some of the negative thoughts are that I'm actually out of shape and that I'm overweight, that I'm not worth as much as I'd like to be. I'm not I'm not worth as much as I want to be or as I feel like I should be. And a couple of other negative beliefs are that I cannot and I can't relax and enjoy my life without first doing a lot of work and uh, making a certain amount of money every day. If I don't hit some of my goals, I just feel so small and so worthless.
So when you say, so if I don't hit certain marks, I am worthless. Are there any time that you do see yourself as worthy because you've hit a mark?
Not really.
Got it. So I'm worthless is a belief that is there.
Yep.
You try to do things quickly, you try to create them as fast as possible so you could get as many things you could do. But it seems like there is a part of you that, regardless of how many things you could put in really quick and value landed, there's still not enough for you and you're still going to be worthless.
Accurate.
Got it.
Correct.
How do you feel about yourself?
Um, a lot of the time, I feel like I am a really, really good person. I do feel like that.
And when you say I'm a good person, what kind of feeling shows up?
It's a feeling of pride.
Okay.
I'm proud that I've turned out to be a good person most of the time.
So you are a good person, just worthless.
Yep.
Got it. Okay. And when you say I'm worthless, then what kind of feeling shows up?
That triggers anxiety and fear.
Okay. And how do you treat yourself?
Um, let's see here.
Like, do you scold yourself? Do you punish yourself? Do you damn yourself? Or do you nurture yourself? Kind of caress yourself and say it's okay and forgive and have compassion. What do you do to yourself?
Yeah, I would probably say I do a combination of those things, but if I were to say one more than the other, it would be to berate myself. That happens more often than I would give comfort to myself and acceptance. But I do both.
Okay. So let's check this out. When you are efficient, when you do things quick, when you create a lot of things during the day, and that you tell yourself, I'm a good person, and you feel pride, and you are compassionate towards yourself, what is the impact in your life and people around you?
I feel like I'm just enjoyable
Mhm.
to myself and to be around. Like I do get energy of just being around people. However I feel about myself, I do tend to feel better when I'm around other folks
Okay.
because I'm an extrovert and that
Yes.
gives me energy to be around people most of the time.
And you gain that energy when you are in the positive space with yourself, right? So when you know you're a good person, when you feel that pride, when you're out there, the energy goes and comes back, and you can gain that energy from them.
Yep.
Now, when you say to yourself, "I'm worthless," and you live in that then anxiety and fear, and then berate yourself on top of that, what do you think? How do you see the impact of that in your own life and others?
It feels like I'm sort of a, a negative energy to be around. And I'm pretty sure I people can feel that coming off of me. I mean, I know for a fact that my wife can. She's an empath and she feels everything that everybody's putting out. And so she's helped me identify, hey, Adam, when you feel like this about yourself, it impacts me and our family. So I know that it has a negative impact on people around me.
And when you are in that mood, are you as efficient as you like to be?
Actually, that is sort of the ironic part because that getting into that mood, into that fear and anxiety space, it has a motivating effect on me. It is not demotivating.
Okay. So you
And
use that even as a strategy. It's
yeah,
almost like that starts the efficiency in order to move that. So when you feel worthless, then it motivates you to become worthy,
yep.
and then it puts that in. The issue that I'm just hearing is that you carry this worthlessness and fear and anxiety, and even when you do so much work, you do it faster. Somehow at the end, the negative feelings, are carrying you, and you don't get to really experience the enjoyment out of it.
Not on a consistent, regular basis.
Okay.
Sometimes, like let's say on a weekend or something, When I know that everybody else is sort of taking a break from work, I give myself permission to do that as well. But I used to work every single day of the week, Monday through Sunday. And so I've gotten better over the years where I allow myself to relax enough to feel like I am worth giving that time off to on a
Yes.
weekend.
The part that I was also still hearing, and correct me if I didn't get it right, is that although you do this as a motivation and do a lot of work and become efficient, at the end of doing the tasks in an efficient way, the concept still does not change to I'm worthy.
Correct. That's
Okay,
exactly right.
okay, so we're handling the efficiency, but the efficiency, if it was going to have some value and the value was going to get you to feel worthy, we're still not gaining that.
I would 100% agree.
Okay, so although you're using it as a strategy, Adam, the strategy is not getting you what you want. So we got to come up with another better strategy than that. Okay. Now, I want to ask you, I want you to right now say to yourself, I'm worthless.
You want me to say it out loud?
You could say it out loud.
Okay. I am worthless.
Now tell me the feeling that happens in your body right now as you say it.
My face kind of flushes, sort of like as an embarrassing response, shame or embarrassment. I mainly feel it up in my head.
And tell me the shame you're experiencing. If you numbered it from 0 to 10, 0, nothing, and 10, the highest level of intensity of shame, what would the number of for it to be in shame in your upper face?
I'd say a 4.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you to close your eyes and go into really into the shame.
Okay.
Now experience the shame and allow the shame to go from 4 to higher numbers. Like allow yourself to really get engrossed in the shame. And raise the number 5, 6, 7 up to what you can. And tell me when you've received it, reached whatever number you have.
This is difficult to do. I don't know if I can get any higher than like a 5 or a 6.
That's fine. That's beautiful. Now allow the experience of shame with the muscles of your body, your face, your head, and the cells of your body to take you to the original time or earliest time you've experienced this kind of shame. And allow yourself to go through the emotions and your body and not your head. Just feel the shame and allow the shame with the muscles of your body and the cells of your body to take you to the earliest time that you've experienced this kind of shame and that you told yourself, I'm worthless.
Okay, there's one or two experiences that stand out.
Okay. You could tell me if you like, or we could just go through the thought. If you don't want the whole to tell me the story of it, you can share with me what you're thinking about yourself in that event.
Well, I think the stories are important.
Okay.
And one of the reasons why I started this podcast was actually to be able to tell some of my own stories. So maybe my kids can listen to them one day.
Please share.
But one of the experiences I had, I was probably 5 or 6, just really young, too young to understand what a car engine was. It looked to me, there was this car engine in my grandparents' backyard that just looked like a big playground, essentially. And there was all these pipes and holes and valves, and it just looked incredibly fascinating. And there was some sand nearby, and I just dumped some sand down into the gas tank of the engine, which destroyed it. The engine became worthless. And my parents found out and marched me up to my grandpa, and I was terrified of him. And he was not impressed. He was he didn't strongly overreact, but that experience stands out to my mind very starkly as a time when I remember specifically feeling like I was such an idiot. I should have known that that's not something you do to car engines, even though I didn't know what a car engine was.
Exactly.
To
So
my mind, that was just proof that I was just a dummy.
yes. So as you are the 5-year-old, and as you're looking outside to your parents' reactions and your grandparents' reaction, what do you see in their reaction? What do you think at that moment about them?
They're just completely disappointed in me.
Mm, yes. And if you were going to assume about what they were going to think of you and what they were going to do to you, what were the assumptions at that moment as a 5-year-old?
The assumption was that I wouldn't be worth loving anymore after that, because
Mhm.
my value was tied up in how smart and good I was at following directions and instructions. That's how I was raised.
Mhm.
You follow the rules. You are obedient. And if you're obedient, then everything's fine. But if you're not, if you step out of line, there are punishments, there's disappointment, there's just you're I was very tied, my value was tied up into how much I could impress my parents with things I was told to do, and I didn't follow their rules a whole lot, to be honest. As I was growing up, I was not an obedient child,
Mhm.
but that was their expectation. That was the bar.
And as the 5-year-old is standing there looking at this engine and looking at the sand and looking at the rules and, all of that, what are you thinking about yourself at that moment?
I'm not I'm not sure what I'm thinking about myself. I'm I think that I decided that it it's it's hard to feel loved. It's almost too hard. It's like I have to try really, really, really hard to feel loved. It's not like the baseline anymore. The baseline is disappointment.
Mhm. So as I'm standing here as a 5-year-old and look at the engine and look at the sand and I know what the rules are and I'm playing here. What am I thinking as I'm playing here?
Is this before or after?
Right at the time that I'm choosing to put the sand in the engine.
See, I don't actually remember doing it.
Mm,
I don't remember the physical act of putting sand in the engine. I just remember the after effects of having done it, and
mhm.
they told me what I'd done and
Um,
told me what the consequences were, but I don't actually remember doing any of that.
so the memory is actually you being beside your grandfather
Yep.
and experiencing being scolded
Yep.
for not following the rule and not knowing that you shouldn't have already done that.
Hmm.
So at that moment, as you are with yourself, you're saying, I'm not loved. And I've already kind of like screwed up this thing because they're already too disappointed with me.
Yep.
Okay. And I want you, Adam, today, um, go to that 5-year-old and hold that 5-year-old and tell him that I'm coming from your future. And I want to share something with you about who we are. Now, share with him who you are today, who the two of you are today.
Is this something you want me to do out loud?
Yes.
Okay. So today, young Adam, we are an extremely valuable part of a family unit. We are great at understanding how to actually feel love and express love. And when we make mistakes, now we understand that we're still worth loving by more than just the physical people we can see. There's a loving Heavenly Father and a Savior, Jesus Christ, who we believe in strongly, even if we can't see them. They love us. And that love is everywhere. And it is ours for free. We're just worth being loved because we are children of a loving Heavenly Father. And we get to have an awesome family on the earth at the same time to have even more love and connection. And that's just there. That's constant. No matter what you do or think or say, that is constant and it's real and it is the best feeling in the world.
And I also, Adam, want you, as you're looking at him, to share that I want to thank you. I want to thank you for being who you are that made us to who we are today. That although your value appeared to be attached to following rules and attached to some of the things you've done, that there was a part of you at that age that was strong enough to hold, strong enough to be creative at times, even though we got scolded. It was your strength where you wanted to play, go beyond the rules that were done for you. And that when you were scolded, that you held on, that you were resilient enough, you didn't break, even though you thought you weren't lovable. You became a good person. We became a good person. And I want to thank you for your strength, for your resiliency, for wanting to be our best. Now say those and add to it.
Okay. I believe all that, by the way. I love that coaching. Thank you. I'll do my best to remember all the things that you said to be thank myself for, but and this is actually probably the last bit that we get to do together today because we are at that time. So, young 5-year-old Adam, I am so grateful that you had the ability to be true to yourself. You were so inventive and energetic and playful. You 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 used all those talents and those skills, which may have resulted in accidents happening that you didn't recognize would even happen. And so I'm so grateful and proud of you that you were true to yourself and that you have been true to yourself and you used the talents that you were blessed with when you were born to explore your world and just find ways to be yourself regardless of the rules that might have existed.
Yes.
Uh,
Now ask him to be you and not be separate than you. That you are me. You don't have to be separate, that you can integrate within me.
Now we can be one. You can be in me. You can meet me where I'm at now, and we can come back together and progress together with all those strengths that I may have forgotten that I had.
Yes. Now that you say I'm worthless, what comes up?
Let me try. Let me say it out loud. I'm worthless. It's still it's still a negative feeling for me.
Mhm.
So
So then it's looking at the next negative feeling and then taking the next one go, because our neural network of um, thoughts, emotions, body sensations, that we hold the memory, and those other memories are all linked together. So you clean one, and then
have to
if you,
rewire them. Yeah.
yes, you check, and then the next one comes up, and we loop back to another memory, clean it up, we check, and that's how we go. And then after we do all of this with different areas of our life, right? So we could go to an app that I created, Foojan app, which you could go into 31 areas of life. And after you do these cleanups and all of these pieces together, then we set up the goals for the future, and you create who you are, and based on all the strength you find and integrate within yourself, then that intentional being creates the goals and moves forward with a way that you know that the strategy that you're using works well. So if you're going to be doing something, it's going to be because you're worthy, and whatever you do is going to end up making you feel worthy. Versus right now, you do a lot of work and at the end, you're still feeling worthless. So that's how we want to shift the strategy that a child created at age 5 is not working for you. We got to figure out what that child was doing and strategizing, which got you all the way to here, but a 5-year-old strategized, not you at this year's. So we want to open that, automatic stuff we did in order to become intentional today. Clean up, integrate, and then intentionally move forward.
So this has been a really, really cool experience. Thank you for taking me through that. And we don't have any more time, but I'm I'm really hoping that anybody who listens to it, this episode, can get a lot of value from it. If you were to say one last thing before we go, what do you want people to know? You mentioned an app.
Yes. I think that everybody deserves to be happy and fulfilled, and we just need to learn the skills and how to get ourselves there. So, yes, you can go to awarenessintegration.com to learn about the model. If you want coaching, if you want a psychotherapist to work with you, you can find it there. You can also do this as a self help. And then for self help, you could go to Foojan app or Foojan.com, or go to Apple Store or Google Play. We have 31 areas, and we do have an AI chatbot in the app called Mira, which is trained into the AIT, and it can support you. So as you're going through these guided journalings and all of that, then if you have questions, you can also ask Mira, and Mira will answer you anytime of day.
Awesome. That sounds like a lot of value. And I'm so happy that we had this chance. Thank you so much for your time that you took to help me through that. I think that was incredibly valuable.
Thank you for the opportunity.
This has been another episode of the Vision with Execution show. My name is Adam Torkelson. We had Dr. Foojan Zeine today, and I hope everybody has an awesome day.